Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15. And now your host, Catherine Basu.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Basu, and my guest today is Courtney Poullas. Courtney was on the was on the podcast just yesterday when we shared the first half of this conversation. So if you missed that, please go back and listen to that. This episode will make a lot more sense and be a lot more inspirational if you listen to that first. And bonus points, you'll be able to get in a full 30 minutes, which is the recommended amount of even walking to get in for lots of fitness benefits and health benefits. So beyond your 15 minutes if you listen to yesterday's episode and today's. But just to catch you up, Courtney is a distance runner, mom of 3, and English teacher. She's been running since 2014, and the reason I had her on the show this time, because I've had her on twice before, is that she recently completed her first marathon, which was the Dick's Sporting Goods Pittsburgh Marathon. So in today's episode, we are done talking about her training cycle and how that went and why Courtney decided to run a marathon in the first place. And we will discuss more in detail her experience of her first marathon, the Pittsburgh Marathon in particular, and also her plans for future races, future marathons potentially, and her race plans coming up and lessons that she's learned that she'll apply to her training in the future. We ended yesterday's episode talking about the fact that you don't need to necessarily run 20 miles or stick to your plan 100% to get to race day. So if you want to learn more about that, head back to that first part of our conversation, yesterday's episode. And we're going to continue that here, talking about some other training methods that might be useful. All right, here we go. We don't have to be so obsessed with the miles, I guess is the point there.
Yeah, or like Hampton's method, where you run 6 days a week and they don't have any long runs more than 16 miles. The weekends are pretty much like 16 miles on Saturday and then 8 or 10 on Sunday. So even just breaking it up like that and finding different ways to build that cumulative fatigue that you need to complete the marathon, there's lots of ways to do it.
Sure. Now, I guess you did mention, that was going to be one of my questions for you, was like the difference between the half and the marathon training. And you said, one thing is just the focus of time on your feet. Anything else that for people that are considering making that jump from the half to the full marathon distance, things to consider or just training tips to share with them?
One of the biggest things that I noticed is, well, there's two. The first is that I felt like training for a marathon was like 5 months of a lifestyle change. It was it's a lot harder on time management, especially if you are a business owner or you have children or you're just someone who likes to do a lot of stuff. I mean, everything changes. Like my eating changed, what I was eating changed. I mean, I have to my husband had to rearrange his schedule because I was out running for hours a day half the time.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to run 70-mile weeks as a beginner? No, but I would say you need to get to like 30 or 35. So, it's more miles and it was just more of a struggle with time management. So I think that's the first, like the biggest difference. And the second is that you're going to feel like you hate running a little bit. It never happened to me until I started training for the marathon. And I knew I was just exhausted and I didn't hate running, but I feel like marathon training was the first time I actually struggled to get my shoes on and get out of the house. When I was training for the half, I'm like, oh yeah, this is fine. This is great. I have 5 miles today and 3 the next day. That's great. When you're running 16 on Saturday and then 7 the next day, it's so exhausting and emotionally and mentally taxing. So you really just have to, a lot more mental training goes into it, I think, to just keep going and get through those last few weeks of training so that you can get through the race.
Yeah. No, I've definitely been there. I mean, I've had some bouts of injury. So I've had marathon training cycles where I'm just grateful for every step I can get in. But even, I have an injury I'm overcoming right now, but the 2 marathons before that, I was like, maybe I should have picked a later race for my fall marathon because I think I need another month of just like enjoying running and cross training. And, so that I think that is an important piece, but I still would recommend everyone try to run a marathon at least once, because if that's, a goal of theirs, because it's just, there's so many things that you like, because of that mental toughness that it takes and that discipline, it's something you can apply to all areas of your life. And it might not be that you're specifically like meaning to do that, but it's so empowering to, say, that there's a reason why marathoners like to talk about that they ran a marathon. It's very empowering to be able to do that.
It really is. Like, it'll be like 85 degrees on and I'll have my marathon jacket on outside, like shamelessly. But yeah, it is. I'm typically like a really kind of uptight person. I'm an only child. I want things to be my own way. And now I have 3 kids, so it's not that way. But I've noticed even just since the race that I seem to be a little bit more laid back about stuff. I think I've just kind of learned that sometimes in the middle of things it's going to suck, and then it eventually gets better. Which is a simple lesson, but not one that's easy to abide by sometimes. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. Very true. Well, awesome. Well, so now I guess do you want to take us through the race itself at all and just explain how it went for you and how you've been feeling after? You said that you've been wearing your marathon jacket, so obviously you're excited and proud about it. But
I am. It rained 75% of the race, which was interesting. I've never been in a race where it rained that much, and I was just by the time I got to mile 20, I think it was 21 or 22, I was sobbing because that was my wall. I'm like, it's raining, I hate this, I'm never doing this again, this is the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
The rain was one thing, and it started at the very beginning. We were all huddled under a parking deck waiting for it to clear up, and then it never did, so we just got into our corral and we ended up going. I started out with the 4:45 pacer, but once a couple of those hills got a hold of me, I lost sight of her by I think mile 4 or 5. So
sure.
At that point, the 4:30 was done. The 4:45 was probably toast as well. And I was hoping for 5, but then.
Hi friends, it's Catherine. And for those of you joining us for an out and back walk of 15 minutes, that sound was your halfway point reminder. You'll want to turn around now. All right, back to you, Courtney.
You get to the halfway point where the marathoners and half marathoners split, and you go up this hill that's just absolutely brutal. There's, like I said, 900 feet of elevation gain on one hill that's about a mile long. So that was crazy. I started dragging. Probably after that, I just felt like I couldn't regain all of my strength. My favorite part was when we got to mile 18. They had a nonprofit that rescues and rehabilitates greyhounds. So they let us run with them. You can take one by a leash and run it up to this little finisher tent thing. So that was a boost.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh's it's a wonderful city. All the bridges and the rivers and all that stuff, it's really cool to see, but it's a lot of up and down. It's either uphill or downhill. And it's steep both ways. Steep going uphill, steep going downhill, and there's very little flat. So that was, I think I picked a challenging first marathon course.
Sure.
In that regard. But it's a class act every year. I've done the half marathon twice, and this was my first time doing the full. And when you get to the finish line, it doesn't matter if you finish it in 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. All the vendors are still set up. You feel like a champion when you finish the race. I definitely think it was probably the best experience I could have had for my first marathon, despite the downpour that happened most of the time.
Sure. The things that couldn't have been controlled, right? But everything else was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
In mile 23, I did call my mom, screaming, and I'm I'm done. I can't do this. So then, I kept walking, and then I started to hear the music. When you hear the music and you know that the DJ is somewhere in the near distance, you're almost, I'm like, okay, even if I have to crawl, I'm going to finish it. So, yeah.
Did your mom give any words of wisdom from mile 23 there on that phone call?
No, I answer the phone, I'm crying, and then she's crying, so we're both crying. And she's like just telling me how close I am to the finish line. She was tracking me on Race Joy. She's telling me how close I am to the finish line. And then so I kept going, and I saw my husband and my kids, and they're yelling, "You only have 400 meters left to go." So that's when I just picked it back up and started like crushing towards the finish line.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're able to have that moment, even though I know it can be hard to get there.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
There was no feeling like that though. When I saw the finish line maps, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. So yeah.
That's awesome. Now for people listening, well, I guess even before I get that, like, so you actually are going to try to run another marathon, even though you had thoughts during it that you might not.
Yeah, I seriously, I really thought at like mile 23 to 24 or so, that I would never do it again. Wasn't just like, well, I'm angry and I'm just gonna, blurt things out that I would say if I was mad. I really felt like I wasn't gonna do it again. Then as soon as I crossed the finish line, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely doing it again. So yeah, you'll feel like that. And I think a lot of people feel like that at some point during the race, like they just want to quit and be done, and they're going to get to the finish line and they're going to put it behind them and they're never going to do it again. And then when they actually get to the finish line, it's like, yeah, I definitely have to do this again sometime.
Yeah. No, it's just that sense of accomplishment, right? I guess that.
Yeah.
It was so hard, but you pushed through, and then you were able to make that a reality. So
yeah,
very powerful.
Yeah.
Do you have a certain one that you're training for, or any like? I mean, I want you to just revel, like, enjoy the moment. That you still like enjoy this moment, but I just have to ask for my own curiosity, like what might be next, and anything you might do differently in next training cycles, or the next time you run the actual race, just for people to get a little insight.
Well, I would love to run a marathon in the fall, but I got through this thing unscathed, so I'm not. I'm going to reserve that for the spring. I'm going to do a half marathon in the fall and just 10Ks and shorter races. But I think I would like to do the Pittsburgh Marathon again next year, because I feel like, I don't want to say I didn't give it all that I had, but I had a kind of a shaky training cycle, and there were some other stressful things going on. So I feel like maybe the conditions will be a little bit more ideal next time, and I'll be able to beat the time that I had the first time. So it's almost like I want to get revenge on the course. Like I'm still mad at that hill, that one hill. Like I'm still angry at that climb into Oakland and Pittsburgh. So I feel like I want to do it again and maybe see a little bit more of what I'm capable of on a course like that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. No, I think that'll be really rewarding, and then you'll be able to really compare, right? Because it's the same course. So
now, a couple of things that I think I want to do differently next time is I want to add more cross training. I started spinning towards the end because I just felt like it was easier for me to do that. Like I wanted to keep my strength up somehow. I couldn't get out of the house and run for an hour and a half, so I would just go to a 45-minute spin class. But I felt like that really helped me get my cardio going and do something low impact. So that would be beneficial. I want to do more spinning and more lifting weights and cross training next time for sure, because I didn't really do much of that. And I feel like with all those hills and everything, if I can strengthen my legs a little bit more in my core, then I'll be able to maybe have some more stamina when I'm out on the course.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. And prevent injury too. I know like a lot of runners don't like to do any of that strength training, but it's important.
It's necessary. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of exercises that I know I should be doing, like clamshells, stuff like that for my IT bands, which are prone to injury. And I didn't do any of them this time. So, I'm thinking to myself, like, I hope I don't get hurt. I hope I don't get hurt. I haven't been doing these things that I know I should do. So I'm going to make it a point to dial in on those kind of things for next year.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I gotta be everyone should be doing some clamshells, and myself included. Especially if you're a runner.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
awesome, Courtney. Well, I've enjoyed living vicariously through you and hearing about the first marathon again. But no, thanks for sharing with the listeners. Any last tips, words of wisdom, or anything before we say goodbye?
Just that I know it seems like an intimidating distance, but anyone can do it. Anyone can do a marathon. I really believe that if I can do it, I mean, I was like a gym class failure and didn't do anything until age 27. So, I went from doing nothing to doing a marathon. I think it's attainable by anyone, and everyone should do it because there's nothing like it.
I love it. I agree.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then what's the best way for people to connect with you and just kind of follow your journey and see how the next races go and how things go for Pittsburgh next year?
I have my Instagram account, and the handle is Teacher Goes Running. So that's probably the best place to follow. Yeah, that's where I put on my training and talk about my marathon nonstop. So yeah.
Hey, I mean, you earned the right to do that. So
yes.
Awesome, Courtney. Well, I'm excited to keep following you as well. And thanks for taking the time to hang out with us today and share your inspiration with us.
Well, thanks for having me back. It was fun.
Thanks for listening to the Fit 15. For show notes and more, visit fitarmadillo.com/podcast. See you next time.
Hi, friends. It's Catherine. I hope you enjoyed hearing the second half of Courtney's marathon story here, her experience at the Pittsburgh Marathon and her lessons learned. If you missed the first half of our conversation, don't forget to go back and check that out, yesterday's episode, where Courtney shares why she decided to complete a marathon in the first place and a little bit more about her experience there. Wanted to let you guys know a few housekeeping things. Number one, there will be no new episode on Monday because of the holiday in the U.S., Memorial Day holiday. So I hope you enjoy your long weekend if you have it off. And I will definitely chat with you on Tuesday if you subscribe to the podcast. The other thing I wanted to share is some housekeeping stuff for my fitness company, Fit Armadillo. We will do at least one fitness class in June. So if you did not get to vote on the best days and times for you to enjoy an online group fitness class, head on over to fitarmadillo.com/classes. That's fitarmadillo.com/classes and complete the survey there so you can share your vote and I can add a time that would work for you and your schedule. As always, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, awesome workouts, and can't wait to chat with you in the next episode. Bye.